Right, taken a little bit longer than I anticipated to get this together, but here we are with a review of the Audi E Tron. This is the pauper spec version, the 50 Technik. We'll have a little look round, give you my initial thoughts on it. We've done nearly 1200 miles in it now, so I'll give you a quick rundown and see what we think. Well, sold the Seat Exio estate, had that for a few years, really nice car, and bought this, the Audi E Tron. This is a 2021 50 Technik, so it's the entry-level e-tron for one of these. A lot of the reviews will be for the high-end model and usually the 55. Had this car now for about 1200 miles, and to be honest, not as impressed as I hoped to be. This is still a £60,000 motor, even though it's the entry level, and a little bit disappointed. Claimed mileage for this is 186. All I do at the moment really is commute to and from work, so I'm 90% on the motorway, cruise control set at 69. With 100% charge on the battery, the best I can show is 155. However, it takes me 24 miles to get to work, and it will use 32 miles of range. So at the moment I'm not 100% convinced and trustworthy of the claimed mileage for this, but I'll give you a quick look around. Do get a fair amount of spec for the entry level, but for this kind of money it's expected. But yeah, not as impressed as I could be. Obviously the dashboard is all screens, so I'll fire that up. It will ask who's driving, so if I put it to me, it will set the radio station that I've gone. It will put the temperature to the last temperature that I had it on, and it will also adjust the seat and the side mirrors to how I like them. The only thing that doesn't change is the rear view mirror. As standard with these, you do get obviously the aircon, the heated seats. Strangely, which I didn't expect, you do get the hill descent, which I've not had time to try out yet, and the drive select. So you can see on there dynamic, if you're not quick enough it does come out. Auto, comfort, as you can see there, raising the ride height. Efficiency and all road raises the ride height again. I will show you this from an outside perspective to see how much you can get, but as it's in all road and off road, you're not quite at the maximum. You can press, like I say, it does come out of this far too quickly for me. You can press that again to give you a bit of extra height. I have found that being in dynamic does give you a better driving experience. I did try it in auto, which puts it in efficiency mode I think most of the time, but it's a little bit sluggish on the accelerator. I found that in dynamic you don't lose any range for what I use going up and down the motorway, and the throttle response is much better. Obviously you do get the full leather as standard. One thing I do have to say about the radio, although the speakers are excellent, you have no CD player, you've got no standard USB port that I can find. What you do get are two small USB-C ports. They do charge the phone up very quickly, but what I've had to do is get an adapter for an SD card so I can play some of the music. I'll give you a quick look around the rest of the vehicle. One of the positives for this vehicle is there's good storage space. The old mat you can see in here was from the boot of my Seat Exio, and the boot in here, as you can see, is pretty much the same size. Tiny little bit wider, but just as deep. In fact, a tiny bit deeper, so we don't quite go all the way to the edge. Putting the seats down is nice and easy. Just pull this forward and the seat drops down. Obviously, one thing I do like about these vehicles, and it's the first one I've had that has this, because they haven't tried to make a 7-seater version of this, the inside is very roomy. With the seat set to me as it is, I can still sit in the back, absolutely no problems with leg room, and headroom is spot on. You do get a 12-volt power supply in the back, but I was expecting a USB port. These are the standard wheels, and they do come with the 255 50/20s, and in the pictures when you're looking through the brochures they do look quite good, but to be honest, a friend of mine has the 22-inch wheels and it looks so much better. But one thing you do get with these is absolutely massive brakes. But the car does weigh nearly 2.5 tons, so you are going to need them. Obviously, where the engine would sit in a conventional vehicle, we do have a lot of the electrics, and you do have a small storage area for charging cables. For charging, you do get a port on both sides, which is quite a nice touch. Well, we placed the order for this vehicle in August last year, got rid of the old estate car in September, with an expected arrival date of November for this vehicle, and it actually arrived February this year. Unfortunately, it arrived 2 days before we moved house, so I didn't have much of a chance to get to play about with it. Unfortunately, within those 2 days, having covered only 50 miles, we did find that the heating packed up. So that went back to Audi and they gave me a courtesy car, a A5, which to be fair even, I much preferred that to drive. It was more comfortable and, if I'm honest, a nicer looking vehicle. I have tried to keep this quite brief. There are plenty of reviews of the E Tron knocking around on YouTube. What I'm more interested in with this one, once I get round to it, is taking it out on the lanes and seeing what the Quattro system will do. I know it's not a dedicated off-roader like my little Jimny is, but it'd be interesting to see what it can and can't cope with. Another thing that I will say on this particular model is the seats. They are quite firm, but that's just standard Audi. But the ones in the Technik have absolutely zero support on lateral movement. So as you go around corners, there's nothing there to hold you in place. But what I will say is the speed. This is just the baby one, it's just the 50, but it's effortless, is the best way I can put it. The car weighs nearly 2.5 tons. It will do a standing start a lot quicker than you would expect, but something sort of 40 miles an hour upwards, you just don't notice it. There is nothing in it that gives away its weight on the acceleration. And the other side of it as well is the steering. There is no feel to the steering at all. These cars do get really good reviews, and I use them reviews to influence my purchase of this, because I couldn't get out to test drive one. But I think if you're going to spend this kind of money, you either A, need to look elsewhere, or B, look at spending more and getting the higher spec model. But at £60,000, there's got to be other things out there that they just have a bit more wow to it. So really, could I recommend one? The E Tron, yes. The E Tron Technik, no. It's just too much money for not enough. So that's it. Thank you very much.